Hi, welcome back to our final episode of adding in some 3D function to your walk and your run. And this last episode is going to show you how to add in a 3D component with your stretching routine. So it doesn't have to be difficult. So if we're walking and running, what are we using? Primarily a lot of legs, although we are getting a nice arm swing. So I'm going to show you really simply how to use a chair, or if you're actually outside doing this, you can use a park bench. You can use a set of stairs. Anything that's just a little bit elevated off the ground, a low fence. Get creative. Anything will work, and that's what makes this so fun, is you can take this with you wherever you go, and you're only really limited by your own imagination. So let's start with those hamstrings. You're going to pop your foot up on a chair, and first you'll just lean forward with your typical hamstring stretch. I recommend holding this a good 30 seconds to a minute. While you're down here, what you can then do is you're going to take your leg and you are going to rotate it back and forth like a windshield wiper. I bet that most of you will be shocked at how different this stretch feels. As you roll one way, you feel the pull in one part of your thigh, and as you roll the other way, it changes to the other part. I usually like to do about 10 or 20 of these, all right? Now, please, for safety, stand near a wall or have another chair next to you if for any reason your balance is compromised and you feel unsteady standing on one leg. So safety always comes first. So we did forward. So that was our sagittal plane. We stayed forward and we added this rotation in, which got a little tweak in our transverse plane. We can also use our arms and reach across and hold 30 seconds to a minute one way, 30 seconds to a minute the other way, and again, that's getting in the transverse plane. Or how about the frontal plane? We can side bend one way, we can side bend the other way, and you can sit there and hold that. You can also use your hips to do the same thing. You can tuck your hips front to back. That will be your sagittal plane. You can rock your hips side to side. That will be your frontal plane. You can do circles, clockwise, counterclockwise, and that's getting in the transverse plane. And obviously you'll feel that a little more when you're doing it with your chest forward in the stretch. So that's getting the back of the leg and up into the trunk stretched by adding some three-dimensional tweaks to just your typical standing hamstring stretch. But we can also now stretch the hip flexor or the quad using the same chair. You're going to come back here. Now the bigger the stride stance between your foot and your leg, the stronger the stretch is going to be. Alright? So first just come up tall. Again, hold 30 seconds to a minute. Add an overhead reach. Adding in a little extra frontal plane. Add a rotation across, left and right, and hold. That's giving you transverse plane. Add a side bend, left and right. That's adding your frontal plane. Same thing with your little hip driver. Tuck your hips front to back, rock your hips side to side, circle one way, circle the other way. Once you understand 3D, sagittal, frontal, transverse, you can now start adding these little tweaks to any of your exercises, okay? Now lastly, stretching your calf out on the wall, your typical runner's stretch, okay? I'm going to show it to you this way. Let's just back this up a little bit. So, you can stretch that ankle out, lodge it up against the wall, and your typical stretch. But then you could take your hips side to side. You could take your hips front to back. You could take your hips in the circle, and you can add to that calf stretch. All right? Same thing when you're this way. You can be adding to that calf stretch front to back. Keep that back heel flat. And this is your typical runner stretch. The one where we had the foot butted up is more for the plantar fascia, okay? Or you can get even more creative and you can pick up this front leg and you can make it go front to back. You can make it go side to side. You can make it rotate. And you will feel completely different stresses going up and down the calf muscle, but also even up into the thigh. So after you've worked these muscles with walking, running, or really any other activity, why not take that extra moment and throw in that little 3D stretch to really get the most out of the routine you did and loosen up those muscles in every single angle they may have worked. It's relaxing, it helps with general mobility, and long term, if your muscles are moving regularly and they're used to moving in all these planes of motion, you'll be stronger, you'll be more agile, and your possible risk of injury potential is extremely lowered. So you can give those a try. Also, if we were in a doorway, you could hold the door and lean your body one way, lean your body the other way, and hold each position for a minute. And that gives you a nice stretch here through the trunk and through the other side. And you'll feel it from shoulders all the way down your legs. So those are some fun and simple ways where we were predominantly leg dominant, but you can get a little bit of arm in there as well to 3D your stretch and loosen up your body from head to toe after walk, run, or any exercise activity. So we're excited for you to give them a try. I know as you move in these different directions, you kind of almost feel pretzel-like at times. So if there's any confusion or questions, just pop us a comment down below and we will be quick to respond, but we'd love to hear back and see how this progresses, advances, or raises your fitness level as you start incorporating some of this functional, dynamic, and more three-dimensional activity. Thanks for taking part in the series, and we'll be back with you again soon for more fun physical therapy, fitness, exercise, and stretching tips. Until next time, bye-bye.